Did you ever hear the story of the Johnston twins? As like each other as two new pins, how one was kept and one given away, how they were born and they died on the self-same day. Blood Brothers is a musical written by Willie Russell, starting out as a school production in 1982 and was transferred onto the West End in 1983 and won the Olivier Award for Best New Musical. However, it is not quite well known outside the UK compared to other musicals, despite having been on Broadway, but I believe it is worth reviewing, and even though it's going to give me flashbacks on my GCSEs days, but okay, here we go. For those who don't know, the story is about a woman named Mrs. Johnston who's struggling to look after her many children, and as her husband leaves her, she finds out that she's expecting twins. However, her employer, Mrs. Lyons, makes a deal to take away one of the twins, and so while one, named Mickey, remains in the poor household of Mrs. Johnston, the other, named Eddie, is raised in a wealthy household, living very separate lives, but wouldn't you know it, the brothers happen to meet and become best friends, despite their families trying to keep them apart. And the story follows the brothers growing up in their different classes and how it eventually causes difficulties in their friendship. Hopefully by the story alone this would interest you to check it out, but what also makes this musical especially strong is the way the story is told, as Willie Russell was very inspired by the theatre practitioner Brecht. Brecht is definitely a name that people involved in theatre studies should know very well. Brecht's aim for theatre to speak to audiences on social commentaries, but remind them that it is a work of fiction they are viewing, but wanted the audience to be thinking during and after. To achieve this, elements were used such as breaking the fourth wall, narration, music, transitions between scenes being in full sight of the audience, multi-acting, and all these elements I've listed were used in Blood Brothers. No wonder it's taught to a lot of GCSE students. I guess the first element we should look at is the narrator, who of course narrates the story, whether through normal dialogue or song. He usually narrates during an important moment, or sometimes even just stand in a corner while a certain scene happens, like when the brothers meet and reunite when they're older, or when the two mothers confront each other. This is to remind the audience of the ending, as the ending of the story was shown at the very beginning. So, during some of the most hilarious moments of the show, the narrator could turn up to remind us that this does not have a happy ending. The narrator also acts as one of the themes explored in the show, which is superstition versus fate. In a way, he is sort of a haunting presence, especially for the two mothers as he sings the song Shoes Upon the Table. Superstition versus fate is a big theme in the musical, as the audience tries to figure out the leads towards the end, rather if it was fate or not. These are reminders from the narrator, of course, but there's also the prop of the gun showing up throughout the story, or actions characters take that have a butterfly effect. However, the theme of superstition really comes through the character of Mrs. Lyons, who took away one of the twins who's living in fear of the truth being revealed. Of course, you can make the argument that Mrs. Lyons is the most frightened, as Eddie is not her child, but I also believe that could be because she comes from a wealthier upbringing. There is a quote that Mickey says to Eddie that goes, "No one was looking when I grew up, but you didn't, because you didn't need to." This quote not only relates to the idea of superstition, but also the theme that I believe to be the biggest theme of the musical, which is social class. The reason I believe this is the biggest theme is because it is shown throughout the entire show, from the dialogue to the costumes to the set. The set of the whole story shows the two sides showing the council estate where Mrs. Johnston and Mickey lives, and the other side showing the larger household of Mrs. Lyons and Eddie. It also comes through in the costumes, as both brothers wear similar clothes such as shorts and sweater vests, but still very different, as Eddie wears brand new tidy clothes, while Mickey's are dirty and bigger for his size, so he's most likely wearing hand-me-downs. In fact, it's not just the visuals that show the differences and the similarities between the twins, but also what scenes they go through and when they're growing up.
The most evident scene is the school scene, when the brothers are teenagers, as both end up in trouble, but it also shows the difference in their education, as Eddie is attending a strict all-boys boarding school, expecting high academics, while Mickey is being taught by a lazy teacher who doesn't care about the kids' education. In fact, the different teachers are played by the same actor, and we even see him changing costume on stage, showing just how different the two environments are. This also goes for the two policemen returning the brothers to their parents. Mickey gets swore at and hit, while Eddie just gets a small warning. Again, they're in a similar situation, but because of their class, the experience is different.
It's one of the many reasons why this musical works extremely well using Brechtian techniques, but one of the biggest ones is using the same actors that play the twins.
Even though they are played by two grown men, they still play the brothers as children and teenagers, but the surprising thing is that you completely buy it. From their vocal awareness to their body language. As kids, their voices are higher and they are very energetic, but as they grow older, these elements slightly change, showing their progression into adulthood. What works about using the same actors because we stay with them throughout the whole show, and therefore build a stronger connection with them, as well as their relationships, which just makes the ending even more heartbreaking.
The fact that we know the ending at the very beginning and we're reminded every so often, we still connect with the brothers because by seeing their relationships, their lives, their good times and their tragic times. There could be some scenes where you're laughing your ass off and then crying your eyes out in the next one.
Blood Brothers is a great example of what Brecht was aiming for, reminding the audience that we are watching a work of fiction, but yet addresses themes that indicate realities that tap into our minds about our life. Themes including social class and money, superstition versus fate, nature versus nurture, coming of age, and much more. Using Brechtian techniques, Blood Brothers managed to let us explore these themes, reflecting on our own lives, our society, our relationships, and gives us such an emotional musical that I'm surprised that not many are aware of this production, despite the awards and critical praise it received.
Hopefully more and more people will become more aware of this musical, and for those who do manage to go and see it, I would take a box of tissues, just in case. I know, I really wish I had one with me. But I do hope that you enjoyed this review, and let's hope that Blood Brothers does come back to the West End and Broadway, because more people deserve to see it. Until next time, and thank you for watching, and what are you doing? What do you mean? I finished the review, and now I'm sort of wrapping up this video. What's the problem? You didn't include me in this? I mean, twins? Double act? This would have been perfect! Alex, I only used you for the Dracula vs. Frankenstein review because you were so desperate to talk about Penny Dreadful. You're even still dressed like Vanessa Ives! Hey! I'll dress how I want, thank you very much. Besides, I thought we agreed that we would do more than one video. Yeah, I think you'll find it actually went more like...
We'll see. We'll see.
So that's it? It was just a one-time thing. Just one. Well, fine. Okay, fine. Wait! Why don't we do the next Broadway baby review together? And you can choose which one. Okay, well, since it is my choice, how about we do a musical that is very split? What, a sort of love-hate sort of thing?
Exactly.
Okay, fine. Well, I guess will be seeing you in the next review. Bye!